It all started about 35 years ago when I was a boy. I walked these prairie landscapes of the Oklahoma Panhandle. In the springtime, I was fascinated to hear the far-off call of strange birds flying far overhead. Where were they going, and how did they know how to get there? What drew them to their destination? To seek the truth, I needed a trusty ride to get around the country, something that was stealthy and inconspicuous. My father was generous enough to lend me a smooth-running machine he keeps at the Wichita, Kansas airport. So I set out in the brown hoopty to pursue an old dream. In the years since, I left the High Plains region to pursue an education in biology and figure out my way in the world. I traveled far and wide, lived in other places, but I never forgot about those large, graceful birds flying north over the prairies. These birds I saw when I was a boy were Sandhill Cranes, and they were heading north through Oklahoma and Kansas in small groups. Sandhill cranes are among the world's oldest known bird species, with some fossils dating back 2.5 million years. With wingspans up to 7.5 feet, they can use thermals and wind currents to fly distances of up to 300 miles in a day. Some groups of cranes migrate thousands of miles from their wintering grounds on the Texas Gulf Coast north to their breeding grounds in the Arctic regions of Alaska and eastern Siberia every year. The cranes sat down on this gravel bar to take a break from their journey. I was thrilled to have such a close view of them. Let's go north. How could such great numbers appear out of such a vast space? The American plains were once the center of some of the greatest congregations of wildlife known in the world. Today, these areas are fenced in by barbed wire and no longer possess the wild possibilities they once had. As I neared the Platte River, I sped along some rough dirt roads that were in great disrepair. I heard a loud knock in the undercarriage. The brown hoopty was slowly leaking precious fluids on the ground. Well, my car blew a radiator. I was lucky enough to be rescued by my longtime friend, Biologist Neil Bass, who had planned to meet me at the Rowe Audubon Sanctuary. He had been on many other adventures with me in the past and is also intrigued by spectacles of nature. Neil could be talked into spending lots of money to spend time in not so nice conditions. That night and the next morning, we witnessed hundreds of thousands of cranes in one place. This important staging area on the Platte River hosts the greatest congregation of cranes found anywhere in the world. It provides the cranes with the sustenance they need to continue their journey north to their breeding grounds. The hoopty spent a little time in a repair shop in Kearney, Nebraska before I parted ways with Neil. I put some repair bills on my credit card and headed back towards Wichita, Kansas to catch a flight home the next day. I took a little detour along the way to Quivira National Wildlife Refuge for one last chance to spot something I'd been hoping to see. I came back down here to Kansas. I'm in Quivira. And the light was excellent tonight, and besides that, there were 11 whooping cranes out there. So I got really lucky. And I think I got a little bit of footage of them, a couple still shots. It's amazing.